With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers who are responsible for their content and do not reflect the opinions of In Touch Radio or its staff.
Wherever we go, we about to bring on the positive vibe. Wherever we go, we are gonna do what makes us feel right.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Say good morning.
Good morning. Listen, you done fussed at me.
Yeah.
You fussed at me trying to get everything together, and let me get myself together. You got yourself together. Allow me to get myself together for like 2 seconds.
Okay, get yourself together. So I'm going to talk. So listen, thank you so much for joining us. You have tuned into the Soul Purpose Show and this beautiful pre-Valentine's Day love special with my lovely co-host and I fussing already. But listen, this is a special show. We have decided to give you guys a little bit of a peek into who we are as a couple. And I'm very nervous about this. I'm very nervous. But anyway, this is the Soul Purpose Show. So back at my side is our lovely co-host, Monica.
Hello, everybody.
Monica is getting herself together, but this is Soul Purpose Show. Heard every week here on Facebook Live, YouTube, and In Touch News, where everybody is a star. So why is Monica back today? So what is tomorrow? So tomorrow, as everyone knows, is Valentine's Day. And if you can look behind us, you will see our lovely bouquet of roses, which is the symbol of love. And as a matter of fact, they're pink roses, which actually doubles as the symbol of friendship as well. So we're going to get into that a little bit later as well. But as we mentioned, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. It's a special day. Since you know that one of the things that we love to do here is focus on Black love and the importance of the relationships that we have one to another. And so that's why you see us here together. And before we get into the real subject of today's show, we're also going to be cooking up something special in the Soul Purpose Kitchen. What we got?
So I have lots of different things.
You kind of said that with a little bit of attitude.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a little bit of attitude. So y'all have to apologize. So when we go live, we have to also share on our personal pages. And my lovely husband sometimes acts like he doesn't know how to do that, or perhaps he doesn't know how to do that, despite the fact that I advised him on multiple occasions on how to do it. So whenever we come live and you see me with my head in the iPad or something, it's because I'm trying to share outside of the Soul Purpose page.
In other words, you're doing your job.
I am. So you can look beautiful for the camera at the very beginning. So at any rate, and I did not have an attitude. I just say yes. So we are making a couple of different things. So Valentine, I do not, as a backdrop, and historically have not celebrated Valentine's Day, just simply because I think it is a conspiracy between florists, and my grandmother was a florist, so no shade to florists. Conspiracy between florists, card manufacturers, bakers, chocolatiers, to increase the price of the various objects that they sell, in order to get people to buy stuff that they should buy every day, to tell the people in their lives that they love them, Okay. And in addition, it just made it even better that I don't celebrate Valentine's Day for real, because 2 of our daughters' birthdays happen to be Valentine's Day. So happy birthday in advance, Alicia and Krista. But that really wasn't what you asked me. So what I'm making are a couple of different desserts and a drink, which are going to be very easy for those people who do celebrate Valentine's Day. It should be very easy for you to be able to do these things. They're not that complicated. And even if you are not a good cook, or you're not a person that does desserts, which would be me. I'm not a person that does desserts, but I do drinks. Then you can do these.
Perfect.
Is that better? Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. And again, Valentine's Day happens once a year, regardless of the reasons, regardless of the conspiracy behind it. The issue really becomes, this is the day that we celebrate our love for one another. If you're coupled off, if you're booed up, this is the day that you express your affection for those individuals around you. And so we would be remiss if we didn't start out by talking about what happened this time a year ago. So last Valentine's Day, February 14th of last year, if you guys would recall, we were hearing about this virus overseas, and it was slowly taking over, and it was making its way over to the United States, and we were kind of concerned about it. So that was a year ago. But for Valentine's Day, if you remember, what you were doing was you were getting together with your significant other. You were planning dinner. So you were going to dinner. You were planning couples outings, and you were going out with other people.
What did we do last night? I don't remember.
Probably went to dinner somewhere.
You sure?
I'm almost certain.
See, I literally don't do it that way. I don't remember.
I mean, we did the flowers and
I do remember flowers, but okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But we went out to dinner around other people, and then shortly thereafter, if you remember, it all came to a screeching halt, and then the next thing you know, it's don't do anything around anybody unless they live in the home with you. So it was a really, really tough year. Yeah. It was a tough year for us.
So right now I am excuse me. Mm-hmm. I don't have a strawberry huller, I think that's what it's called, but I am taking the stems off the strawberries. I'm going to cut them up and I'm going to put them in the bowl for one of the desserts that I'm going to make, which is a trifle. And so I'm going to do that in a second. Okay. These are fresh Florida strawberries. If you are in the I-4 corridor, then you know they are Plant City strawberries, which means that they are super sweet, which means that you probably need to add sugar, but I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. These are the best strawberries on the planet. So I'm just going to cut these up and put them in a bowl, put some sugar on them and set them to the side so they can create their own juice for my trifle.
And I saw you had to be real careful there.
I did. I didn't cut myself. So this is a Pampered Chef. I'm a Pampered Chef consultant. So this is a Pampered Chef knife. It is extremely sharp. I did not cut myself, but it's very, very sharp. He's watched them and can attest to the fact that it's sharp.
So I'm naturally hard-headed. So she was like, oh, if you're going to use this knife, make sure you are careful. And I was like, well, I'm careful. I don't know about no knife. Give me that knife. So I started, and sure enough, it just it kind of grazed my hand, and I screamed. And anyway,
I tried to tell him.
Again, if you didn't learn anything else from last year, it was keep the main thing, right? Those in your life, the people who you love, surround yourself with people with love, and surround with the people that you love. And now that we are here, I guess what we've decided to do is kind of use our platform to kind of help our viewers understand. This was the teaser in the flyer. Like, how do you keep romance alive even during a pandemic? Like, how do you do that, right? So we said, well, we'll just help everybody out. So my wife said, I've got some ideas, and I said, I've got some ideas, and we're going to give you the keys to keeping romance alive during a pandemic. And so just like we were alluding before, since you can't go anywhere, right? You're not really supposed to be out around people. What you should do is hold yourself up inside the house and do lots and lots of just ongoing lovemaking for hours and hours and days.
There may be children watching this show. What are you talking about? This is a morning show.
But that's not the answer to the
No, that's not the answer to the question. You're such a man.
Well, what is your answer?
So
that's my answer.
Right, that's not the answer at all. So that's important for sure. But the other important part is absolutely communication and getting to know your spouse or your partner or whomever. And Keith and I were in preparing for the show yesterday. Keith and I were kind of talking about relationships and communication, etc. And I share with him that while he and I are husband and wife and very close and are friends, which we'll get to probably later about marrying someone's your friend. I share with him that is as intimate as our conversations are, and Keith knows a lot about me, probably almost everything. There's some things I don't even know everything about him.
I do find out new things though. They slip out.
Listen, I don't know everything about you. And frankly, to be clear, and everybody's relationship is different, I don't want to know everything. I want to know the important parts, like, are you crazy? Do you
do heroin?
Some stuff like that's going to impact me, right? So, but other stuff like what happened in your past, unless you bring in some stuff forward and you got like if you had like a hidden child somewhere, that'd be a problem. That'd be a problem, and I would want to know that. But other than that, I personally don't want to know. But anyway, so my point to him last night was that even though we share a lot, I probably have more intimate relationships with my girlfriends. And will you stop shocked by that?
I was shocked, disappointed.
Why was you disappointed?
Well, because How you gonna say you got more intimate relationships with girlfriends than you do with your husband who you sleep with every night?
Because intimacy is not just about physical intimacy. So Mike, so you know, like high level information. So my girlfriends can know that same high level information, but they also know how I was feeling. They were probably present during whatever the situation and circumstance was. They may be able, there's empathy involved, not necessarily sympathy. Whereas in certain situations that I've shared, you may be sympathetic, but you can't be empathetic because that's not what your experience was. So, So to me, intimacy is beyond just the physical intimacy. I think that's important. It is not the highest thing on my priority list. To me, what is more important is communication and being connected to the person. And that only comes when you talk and you communicate and you ask like just random questions and just kind of sit down and have a discussion. So you kind of get a sense of who the person is.
And so I got dragged into today's show.
He didn't want to do this, y'all.
Kicking and screaming because
he didn't want to do it.
What we have decided to do is go on a little bit of a journey ourselves, and we're going to do it in front of our thousands of people out there watching. And we're actually going to probe some questions, not probing questions, but just ask each other questions that we've not, kind of prepared with one another to get to know each other a little better. So what we're trying to demonstrate here is
we ain't done this. We don't. I have no idea what he's gonna say to any of these questions.
Right, and so we're trying to demonstrate that this is important. Like you can't just look at the surface things and say, oh, well, she's cute, and y'all get together and y'all do the physical thing, whatever, and think that that's what love and intimacy is going to be all about, and that's going to be the level of intimacy that's going to carry you through the relationship, especially during some of the tougher times. So we have decided to actually ask each other some questions that we don't know the answers to, and let's just kind of see where this goes. And then second half of the show, we're going to give you some tips, some additional tips, and we're going to look at some obstacles to intimacy that couples have and share a little bit about our experiences as well. So,
and we pray that we're still together at the end of the show based on your answers.
Based on my answers. We're talking about some of this history stuff. Let's get into some of this history that I don't know about anyway. So what kind of questions would you like to ask me, and vice versa? Let me see. I think I've got a couple prepared right over here.
Well, I don't have the list of questions, but I will tell you the first question that started this off was, which I thought was actually a pretty funny question. Those are you printed all the questions out?
You printed these out.
I know I printed out last night though, but there are other questions. But anyway, so one of the questions last night that we talked about, not last night, maybe 2 weeks ago, was our pet peeves. Right? Because I think that's important, right? I recognize everybody has quirks, but there are certain things that are pet peeves of each of ours. And so some of them I kind of knew about his, but I don't know if you knew any of my pet peeves.
Oh, yeah. My napkin thing.
Oh, so one of my big pet peeves. So I have a slight case of OCD. I don't like papers just randomly spread about, right? So like mail, Keith will go to, I don't check the mailbox. It's just all my bills are paid electronically. So I do not check the mailbox unless I'm anticipating something. So if you send me something and I ain't send you a thank you card just because I ain't check it too much later. So I apologize. But Keith will check the mail. He'll come in, he'll just drop it on the kitchen counter, right? He'll kind of go through the junk mail and toss the junk mail. And then the rest of the stuff that needs attention or whatever, he may open it. He may just sit it there just for future looks, but it will stay there, right? And it will just pile up. That irritates me. So what I did was I got this mail basket, and initially I put it in our home office, but I found that was not very effective because he would not then move. He wouldn't go directly to the office, and we spend time in there, but we're working when we're in there, we're not checking mail. So I moved the mail box to the kitchen. I wish I could see the kitchen to see they're on our pantry. I have hung, and I hate the way it looks because it's not attractive, but it is sitting on the pantry.
It's not attractive.
It's not attractive, but I have slots for people. Like the top slot is just miscellaneous stuff. The second slot is Keith. The third slot is the girls if they come. So that's kind of, the girls get mail here. So those are the slots. Keith does not put any mail in the slots. Now, admittedly, the slots are full right now. So I have to go out and I have to kind of purge. But it's at least something to hold it. Do you think he uses it?
No.
Don't use it. And why don't you use the mail?
So there's two things about me that probably would help give some context to this particular thing. One is I'm a hopeless procrastinator. So if I can get to it later, I'm probably just gonna push it off to the side and get to it later. Sometimes, most of the time, sometimes I don't get to it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it just stays there. The other thing is I have really bad undiagnosed attention deficit disorder, which means I will get distracted very, very easily from things. So even if I'm giving it attention, there's a good possibility that I'm gonna be thinking about something else. I'm gonna move on to something else pretty quickly. So that's the reason why I leave it there. If I move it, then my attentions have been diverted from it. So I'll never go back to it because it's out of sight, out of mind. So if it's in a slot somewhere or stacked up in the office somewhere, it's probably just gonna be It's going to
stay there.
It's going to stay there forever.
Forever and ever.
So those are the kind of things that, it's important for you to know your mate. It's important for you to know your spouse. A lot of times you don't learn those things unless you live together.
So I did not know about Keith's undiagnosed ADD.
Neither did I.
Till we got married.
Until I was 50 years old.
And I noticed when we were dating, he'd be kind of forgetful, but I was like, oh, he just has a lot going on. Like, you're daughter of 3 girls and working, and you just have a lot of stuff going on. So you just forget. So I just be, don't forget this, don't forget this. And I thought it was really cute when he put everything in his phone, like in your calendar.
So will.
Everything in his phone.
Reminders, everything. And reminders like, don't forget to, pick up your medicine from the
right. So I thought it was a cute quirk. Mm-hmm. Then we got married and then we had a child. Keith literally, I'll say Keith do something like right now, Keith would walk to our bedroom, see something else, get completely distracted and completely forget what it was I just asked him to do like 5 minutes later. So like for taking out the trash, I have to remind Keith to take out the trash because I don't take out the trash. I didn't grow up taking out the trash. I don't take out the trash. So I don't take out the trash. So my husband takes out the trash. Keith will come back in, empty all the trash cans and forget to put a garbage bag in the garbage can every single time. I suggested as a means to address that, just put garbage bags in the bottom of the garbage can. Mm-hmm. So then you don't forget. He didn't want to do that. So that was just a fight I wasn't willing to fight because I don't take out the trash. So that is he's forgetful. Okay, so what was your pet peeve that you gave of mine?
Well, yours was the refrigerator, and we're not even gonna get into it. So they were on the refrigerator, and when she talks about she's OCD, whatever it is that you are, except for the refrigerator, because you got magnets on the refrigerator. So on the magnets on the refrigerator, she has anything that could possibly be stuck to a refrigerator. If she could put our child on the refrigerator, she would stick him with a magnet up on the refrigerator. There's so much crap on the refrigerator that you open the refrigerator and stuff just falls off of it. So she's OCD about certain things, but then there are other things, individual things that there's just.
I like things in places. So like the thing, so that I clean the refrigerator. The refrigerator is, I think, better now. We have like my school schedule and notes and things to remind me of things that are coming up. But like Miles gets a certificate in school, I put it on the refrigerator. He hates it. He hates it. So I did clean it though. When you mentioned it, because when we had a conversation, it was filled with stuff. I just add stuff.
Yes.
But I cleaned it. Didn't I clean it?
It's slightly better. And there's now open space on the refrigerator for her to stick more stuff coming up shortly. So what personality trait do you value the most?
In you?
It could be in me. Maybe it could be in somebody else. But we can talk about that too.
No, it's
what personality trait?
For you, it would be the fact that you do what you say you're going to do. So one of the things I do appreciate about Keith is that he said, now, if he doesn't, the challenge for me is that he may not do it when I want him to do it. And that's growth for me. I have to learn. I'm the oldest. Keith is the youngest. So I think that dynamic in our relationship plays a part in a lot of the disagreements we have. He's the baby boy. I'm the oldest of 3. And there's a 5-year age difference between you and your brother.
Yes.
So he's the youngest and was kind of technically raised the youngest child. Only child, because his brother went off to college and you were at home for a while by yourself. So, but I do appreciate that when you say you're going to do something, I have assurance and know because of who he is that he's absolutely going to do it. He just may not do it when I want him to do it because I have determined that there's a schedule in my mind where I want this done.
Which is usually right now.
Right. Okay. Because I need to get it off my list. So I have like an internal to-do list. And when my to-do list gets too long and I get overwhelmed, I get very, very cranky. And so if I've asked him to do it, I don't eliminate it. And he said he's going to, I don't eliminate that to do task from my list. And so it's still there mentally. And so I'm like, have you done it? Have you done it? Have you done it? And then finally, like, if you want to do it, then do it. I told you I was going to do it. So that's just
kind of a pet peeve of mine too. That's growth.
That's growth for me. But I recognize that a lot of that has to do with the fact birth order, and I don't think a lot of people really give that much attention. But birth order is extremely important when you're deciding or you're determining who you're going to be in a relationship with. If you were the oldest, if you were a youngest person, you were married to an oldest, just think about kind of their take charge mentality. That generally is the case. And youngest tend just to be like, they'll do it, but it's kind of like, I don't really have to report to anybody but myself, and I'm just going to kind of go with the flow, laissez-faire.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay. So I've never done this before, so we're gonna see how this works. I'm making homemade whipped cream.
Homemade whipped cream.
Yes, and if this doesn't work, then I actually have like store-bought whipped cream in the refrigerator too. My wife, just in case it doesn't work.
There's probably about 100 reasons why my wife is better than your wife. This is one of them. She is making homemade whipped cream. I'm gonna try making homemade whipped
I'm gonna try. So it's 2 cups of, for those people who are watching who like to cook, it's 2 cups of cold cream. And so I have the heavy whipped cream, and then you put it in a bowl. And they say it's supposed to be super cold because it helps it, but that's Warm Peaks. And so then you add 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and then 1 teaspoon. Oh my gosh, that's on my head. 1 teaspoon of, does that say teaspoon? Does that teaspoon? 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And you're supposed to whip it until it forms a peak. So we'll see if this don't work, then I have store-bought whipped cream.
No pressure, but most of the things she tries work in the kitchen.
We'll see.
And I'm very pleased by that.
Okay, go ahead.
That's your turn.
Oh, I don't have a question.
You know, there's lots
of questions. What is the best and worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Wow. Best and worst piece. Well, I will share something intimate, but I'll share something between the two of us. So Monica sings. She sings like an angel. And I did know that. I knew that when we were dating. And when my mom was alive, I got an opportunity to send her, to bring her with me to one of Monica's performances. It was at the church we were going to at the time. And they were doing a kind of a Broadway musical format. So anyway, long story short, Monica sang a Whitney Houston melody. I mean, what do you call it?
A medley.
A Whitney Houston medley. And I hadn't heard the medley, but I'd heard her sing before. My mom had never heard her sing before. And then by this time she was already aging. She had battled cancer a few times or so. So she looked over at me after Monica started singing. When she finished her first song, and she looked over at me and she says, "Boy, if you don't marry that girl, I'm gonna write you out of my will." And my mom, she would joke a lot, but sometimes she would say things and not really be smiling, not really be telling the joke.
This is gonna take a long time. I have to go get an electric mixer. Keep going.
That's
gonna take forever. Sorry.
So I will tell you that that stuck with me because she was serious about that thing. And I think she had also by that time got to know Monica's character and who she was and her personality and everything else. But I think the singing thing really just kind of took it over the top for her. And obviously fast forward to however long it was, a year or so later, I made good on that promise. So that advice was probably one of the best pieces of advice that anyone has ever given me.
Well, that's very nice. I'm thankful. Miss you, Mama Ethel. Okay, I hope this doesn't fall off. Okay, now it's your turn.
Okay. I don't even know what the worst piece of advice.
Oh, that says best and?
You asked me best and worst.
Okay, best and. I wasn't sure. I wasn't say or.
The worst piece of advice that somebody has ever given me. I will have to think about that one because I'm not exactly sure. I know what the best advice is though. Anyway.
This is not working. Okay, keep going. So it's your time for a question.
Okay. What gets you fired up? And listen, I'm asking questions. I know what makes her angry because I've made her angry before, but I don't know like what her true like hot button? Like what makes her very, 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 very angry? I'm not sure I know what that is because she gets angry just about every day.
That's not true.
About something.
What's
your
y'all see me for walking off? I thought I could just whisk it with my hand. So hot button. That really gets me. So if you follow me on Facebook, then you know that I'm pretty transparent. And that can be good or bad, depending upon, the topic area. But because I am so transparent with how I feel about certain things, and my opinions about things, I'm also transparent about how I feel about situations. So like if you hurt my feelings or you say something that I think is inappropriate, I'm going to tell you probably pretty immediately. One of my hot buttons that really sends me over the edge is people that are upset with me and don't share that they're upset with me, and they proceed and act like everything is cool. That is a pet peeve because it's honesty. I guess it's honesty. Yeah. So being honest and forthright in your dealings with me is of utmost importance to me because that's an integrity issue. And I am honest with people about how I feel. Now, if I may make a determination to compartmentalize stuff, like someone's done something to me that I'm bothered by, I will internally compartmentalize. Is it worth me sharing with them? Or am I just going to forget it, whatever, note to self, I just won't deal with this particular person in this vein. And then usually I talk to you about it and he'll say, well, if you feel that strongly about it, you just say something to the person. And so I just make a determination about whether or not the relationship with the person is worth me saying, this is how you made me feel, your actions did this. And so because that's what I do, my expectation is that people do the same. Now, he is very good about sharing. If I did something to Mason, man, he's gonna tell me immediately, which I am so thankful for.
Get it from my mama.
I'm so thankful for, regardless of how it comes out. I can never say I did not know because you share with me how you felt. I similarly do the same unless I haven't figured out the right way to say it, because my husband is also sensitive because he's the baby. So he's also not super crying sensitive, but Keith will overanalyze things and he'll try to think deeper than what it is. And for me, what I say is what I mean. You don't have to read through it. You don't have to analyze what I've said. And I tell you this all the time. You don't have to analyze anything that I've said. I am a black and white person. Am I not?
For the most part.
I'm not. There's not very, very much gray. If I say it, I meant it, and you don't have to interpret or think about what I've said. I'm telling you what I feel. If I say I do like this pink sweater, but I'm just using an example. If I say I don't like this pink vest on you, you don't have to say, well, did she mean that she didn't like the pink vest because it was doing X, Y, Z? You don't have to do that. I just don't like the pink vest. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And we're actually I'm gonna touch on, we're gonna give some folks some tips a little bit later, some relationship tips, especially for those of you who might be single and watching this, or for those of you who are young couples early in your relationship and watching this. We're going to give you some tips on what we think. Well, our relationship really is fantastic, by the way. And I know we do a lot of arguing, fussing, and that kind of thing. But we do need our audience to understand just how the old Ashford and Simpson song "Solid as a Rock." We won't sing that for.
No, we're not going to do that.
Okay. Anyway. I do think that you are black and white. I do think that honesty is important to you. And one of the things that I have shared with my wife through the years is I agree to be honest, and I agree to bring how I feel. And her responsibility, the other person's responsibility, is to create a safe space for the partner to do that. So if I say, honestly, I don't like this apron, and you start screaming and hollering and doing whatever, then it's going to shut down my ability to be honest. That's true.
Honest. And I do that sometimes, depending upon what it is. Now, I will say that I don't like, Keith usually does not like my hair selections. He does actually like, this is a weave. He actually does like this. But you don't like short hair. You don't like me in short hair. And he's been very clear about that, which I respect. I'm not going to change because I'm not going to change. I do what I want. It's my hair. I'm going to do what I want. And he's heard this. We've had this conversation. So I like short hair on me. He does not like short hair on me. He prefers me with long hair. He was not very happy when my hair actually grew this length and I cut it. And I cut it because it was easier for me to do my hair short. It's a better look for me. I like it better. I think it's more chic when my hair is short. He prefers it in long. So.
Well, we're almost to a break. Do you want to wait to do that?
I'm going to do this during the break because it's going to be loud.
Okay. So I think, listen, what I'm most excited about is, in addition to us kind of asking questions, getting to know get to know one another. It is Valentine's Day, and we do need to take, if you didn't learn anything in 2020, it's you need to value the people who are close to you, the people who you love. We went through a period where we couldn't even see our family members, our own family members, if they didn't live in the house with us, and we're still in that, place. So that's why I think this is very, very, very special. So listen, when we come out of break,
I'm finished. The desserts are not the desserts are not hard, and the drink is real easy, so everything will fly by.
And I'm going to take the dog out because I think the dog has to go pee. And we're going to deal with some of the obstacles to intimacy in relationships. I also want to shout out the book, The 5 Love Languages. Stay tuned. We got more for you when we return after our break.
We're on In Touch Radio. Be back.
Makes us feel right. I'm just getting off the train. Let me see what didn't work all day. I just want to kick back and relax.
Thinking politics? Tampa Bay Politics is on every Wednesday at 11 a.m. with Angela Birdsong. Tune in right here on In Touch Radio.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Wherever we go, we about to bring on the positive vibe. Wherever we go, we are gonna do what makes us feel right.
All right, so we're back. Keith is just bringing the dog in because this is real life. I stopped doing this whipped cream, but it is working and it's loud. You see how loud it is? So I'm gonna stop doing this and just put this in the refrigerator, and I'll finish making the whipped cream later. But it is, you can see, it's the liquid. It's working. So I'll finish making it after the show because it won't be as loud. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So listen. So today's show, we're talking about intimacy. We're talking about Valentine on the heels of Valentine on the what is this? Preceding Valentine's Day. We want to try to give you guys some real advice on how to spice up your romance during a pandemic. My wife didn't like my solution, which is just get it in because you're home anyway.
Ain't nobody got time to be doing that, and we are not rabbits.
Okay.
Well, not all the time.
All right. So what we decided to do was give you some insight into what intimacy really is, and that is getting to know your partner in a real and substantive way. Sometimes you have to just ask each other questions that you may or may not know the answers to. So with that, I'm listening. What do you spend your time thinking about the most? Preoccupies your mind.
That's a really good question. Preoccupying my mind the most right now, to be perfectly honest with you, is ensuring the health and safety of my family. So that probably, in the current situation, has probably preoccupied most of my time. We are older parents, and so focusing on ensuring that we stay healthy. I like to eat, but I got to exercise too, and ensuring we stay healthy so we can be around to see Miles graduate from high school and college. So ensuring the safety, health, and safety of my family probably preoccupies, and then ensuring that I have free time to be with Miles. So we're working parent household. Both parents worked. And so I remember my father was an attorney, and I remember going to college, and me and my dad, because when I started high school and I was in, elementary school and middle school, was getting his practice together. And so I spent more time with my mom. I didn't spend much time with my dad. And so I did not want, as a woman who's an attorney and also a mother, I did not want my son to get to college and say, well, I spent most of my time with my dad. I really never saw my mom because she was working. So the other thing is, other piece to that is trying to find different alternative ways to create income so I can be free to be more actively engaged and involved with mouth. That was a very long answer to your question.
No, but I like that. And honestly, I knew some of those things tangentially, but I didn't know that that's what preoccupied your time.
Yep.
What is this? It's
Okay.
one of my favorites.
So this is cheesecake.
Yep.
I don't make cheesecake. For those who do make cheesecake, God bless you. This really just is cheesecake I got from the store. So I'm going to make strawberry and cheesecake skewers.
Oh, okay.
So I actually need to cut up some strawberries before I do this. Keep talking.
So I alluded to a book called The 5 Love Languages before we went to break. It is a book by Dr. Gray, I think was his name. But The 5 Love Languages, I wholeheartedly what's the word? Recommend. Oh, my words aren't coming to me today. I wholeheartedly recommend to you to go get the book. It's been out for years.
What are the 5 love languages, honey?
So the 5 love languages, the premise to the book is it is an aid to couples who are trying to help each other understand. It's kind of set from the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That was Dr. Gray, by the way. It's kind of set on that same premises. But the 5 love languages are actually, this author's name is Robinson, are actually he's based on his research, there are really kind of 5 ways that your partner, your significant other, understands and receives love, and even gives or demonstrates love to their significant other. And they range from my favorite, which is physical touch. Mm-hmm. And that's usually where physical intimacy and sex comes from, to words, right? Words of affirmation. Words of affirmation mean you are affirming your significant other. You're telling them about how you value them, how special they are, how you have confidence in them, et cetera, et cetera. So that's another love language. One of the other love languages is acts of service. So you demonstrate to your significant other that you care for them by the things that you do for them. And the other one is gifts. And I hope I don't forget the 5th one. The 4th one is gifts. So gift giving is an actual love language. So some people, when they love you, they give you gifts. And some people, when they want love from you, they expect gifts. They expect gifts. And the more gifts they get, the more that affirms them. And then what was the 5th one?
I don't know. This is not going to work because I didn't put this in the. So this is a cooking fail.
Oh my gosh.
Right, Phil. So the concept of this, and so you're seeing stuff in real time. I'm gonna freeze this because I do want to make these. So because I didn't buy this cheesecake. So the cheesecake should be harder. But what you do is you do strawberry, and then a piece of cheesecake will go here. Oh. Then another strawberry cheesecake, and then it'll go here. So I'm gonna put this in the freezer because it was out here. It's supposed to be harder than it is, and it's not. So we'll just move on to the next dessert. Continue.
That's okay. And the fifth one that I just remember is quality time. So a lot of times, I'm sure it is. Please don't ruin the cheesecake.
Well, I already cut it up.
Quality time is the 5th love language, which means there are people who value you taking time out to spend time with them. They say, "Well, you don't love me." So what do you mean you don't love me? Well, you don't ever spend time with me. Well, that's what that means. Some people, that's how they receive love, and that's how they give love. So that's kind of the backdrop for a lot of kind of how we conduct our relationship. My advice to you would be figure out early on what your significant other's love language is. This particular author believes that some people have a primary love language and kind of a secondary love language. Your significant other's primary love language is really just kind of how they're wired. You can't really change it about them. You can't just expect them to switch up, kind of midway. But get to know your significant other's love language. One of the things that was pivotal in our relationship early on is I think we were having this discussion. Hey, there's this book called 5 Love Languages. Do we know what each other's love languages are? It's one of the ways that I knew that I had made the right choice. My wife nailed mine. like 1 and 2. Right off
You are words of affirmation and physical touch.
Yep. Nailed them right off the bat. So,
what am I? What am I?
Drinking is one of her.
Drinking
and cooking.
Those were not a part of the thing. What are my love languages, Harris?
No, one was words of affirmation. The other was acts of service.
Very good.
Sure.
That's how I receive love. But you telling me thank you for me doing something is huge for me. Or if I come home and the kitchen's clean.
She's a gift giver.
But for me, I show love by giving gifts.
Yes.
That is not your love language.
Yes.
But you do decent at it because I recognize it creates a lot of stress for you.
At giving gifts.
I recognize, no, you don't suck at it. You just, I told him he has to just take your time and think about it, but he does call my sister. So I'm thankful for my sister to get some guidance, and he listens. He don't question it. He just,
I do listen.
You do listen. Okay.
What are you doing?
So the first dessert was a fail, but it's cheesecake skewers. Once the cheesecake hardens, I will make it and post a picture on our site. This particular dessert is what's called a trifle, and I'm putting them in not champagne glasses, with martini glasses, just because I think it's pretty. Typically, you make a trifle like in a big glass container, and you make it in a glass.
Trifle or truffle?
Trifle. I don't know. Trifle is something different.
Oh.
So it's a trifle, but you usually see it in a big glass container, and it's layered like the layers are cake, and then whipped cream, and something maybe a mousse, and then your fruit, and you layer it so it's really pretty on the side. So I'm going to make them in the champagne. What is it called? Martini glasses. And because
both of us are words people.
I
too.
know.
We're struggling.
And because I knew that my whipped cream experiment may not work, got me some Ready Whip because I'm always ready, baby. All right.
She's prepared.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get your cake. Again, I'm not a baker, but I'll put something together real quick. It's simple and easy for those individuals who may be. Cut this bad boy in half. And I got your dishes. You like this? You like Edamins though. Entenmann's. What I don't eat that, so I don't know. But this is some good butter pound cake. So you get this. I'll cut it up. I'll make 2 of them. Okay.
And you're using one of those sharp knives again.
I am.
That pound cake don't have a chance in hell.
You're gonna cut it. Just cut it in cubes. All right, what's the next question?
If you get an opportunity to hit us up on our page or respond, give us your own suggestions for desserts, for Valentine's desserts for our other couples who may be struggling with kind of how to keep love interesting and alive. One of the things we promised we would do is talk about some obstacles. So intimacy is one of those things where it takes time. I mean, we've only asked each other a couple of questions. There's resources out there that has dozens and dozens of questions that you can ask your significant other to get to know them better and even learn more about them. It will also tell you that there are some obstacles out there to intimacy and to getting to know your spouse better. One of those is what I call just failure to be an active listener. Most of the time, because we're distracted by whatever, we're not really listening for understanding. We're listening for transaction. You tell me you want to take out the garbage. I say, okay, I'll take out the garbage. So we're just transacting with one another. When you really want to communicate to your significant other, what you have to do is you have to listen for understanding. You have to ask questions like, am I hearing you correctly? Well, I'm not sure I'm fully understanding you. Please help me by saying it another way. I'm trying to understand what my significant other is saying. But that's one obstacle is we just don't want to take the time to do that.
Correct. And I would admit I'm not that good of an active listener.
Yeah. What's another obstacle to intimacy?
To intimacy? Not accepting your partner for who they are. Yeah. Fundamentally. You have to kind of know. That's why I said one thing that's important is to have these conversations, because you're not going to change grown people. Now, that being said, you also don't want to do things that, obviously intentionally irritate your partner, but the people at their core character issues, you're not going to change. And so that's why you have to that's why I said at the very beginning, you need to be friends with your significant other first, because I think that makes a world of difference. Okay, so.
And speaking of,
just top it with a little bit of whipped cream. Guys, it's super easy. Isn't that pretty? Don't you think it's pretty?
I think it's very, very pretty. I look forward to
Very nice. Lots of calories, but it's really sweet. So put this to the side.
Look forward to getting even more fat.
Okay.
What is your ultimate relaxation? How do you relax? How do you like to relax?
I don't do it very often, so that's why I'm struggling. It's very hard for me.
It is tough for me.
So I will share with you that me being in the on the couch and vegging out and doing absolutely nothing, not having to answer to anybody. So when Keith takes our little person and just goes, and I'm able to sit on the couch and do nothing for hours on hours on hours, that is probably relaxing to me. Now, I may be on social media and I may be talking to people, but it's still relaxing for me. I know you don't understand that, but.
No, I do. I understand it because I'm actually more of an introvert. I do the same thing. I can sit by myself and not talk to anybody for hours and hours on end, and that's the way I recharge. I am an introvert. My wife is an extrovert. It's good sometimes to understand what that means. There's more alcohol being brought into the scene.
There is. So now this is the drink.
Okay.
I got my 2 champagne glasses. We're gonna muddle some strawberries in the bottom of our glass. Keep talking. Keep asking. You have another question?
This is your turn, actually.
It's my turn?
Yeah,
what I got?
You need to ask me something.
I gotta ask you something. Let's see. Some of these I already know. How often do you people watch?
So, people watch.
Because I think it's important just to observe people.
Yeah, so truth be told, I'm kind of a social scientist. I do observe people. I get paid, as a matter of fact, to be observant and to be intuitive and to understand people. It's a part of my nature. It's also situational for me because I mentioned being an introvert, which means alone time when I'm not interacting with people is actually how I recharge. So there are times when I kind of don't want to be around people, don't want to look at them, don't even want to think about them. I just want to be by myself. But situationally, though, if I am in certain situations, I would, for example, I would go to South Beach and sit out on one of the little patios overlooking the street, one of the main drags or the water, and just watch people go up and down the sidewalk and the streets and the beach. I can do that for hours and hours and hours. I'm actually, so that's probably one of my favorite places to do it. Mm-hmm. Actually, people watch a lot of times at airports because I think understanding people's story is interesting to me. Where are they going? Where are they coming from? Are they with family? Are they on business? Are they happy? Are they sad? Or did they go someplace that they enjoyed? Did they have a good flight? Like all of those things. So I like to observe like that. So I don't do it as much as I probably would like to, but I do it pretty frequently.
Okay. So in here, I've muddled like 4 strawberries. I put 2 ounces of vodka in here. I put like half an ounce of simple syrup and squeeze half a lime. I'm completely making this up. I have no idea how this is going to taste, but we'll see. I probably should put some ice in here too. Okay. So if it tastes good, then this is perfect. I have all signature Valentine's drink.
So I have a question before we get into our tips to leave with our couple. You are not really much of an adventurous type person. I say you like experiences and excursions, not necessarily adventures.
I don't like outside unless I'm supposed to be outside. Like if we're in an island and I'm supposed to be outside, or if I'm in a foreign country and have to travel because I want to see the space, then I'll.
You just like me to open this?
All right. Thank you, though. Then I will go outside and be adventurous. But like hand gliding and jumping out of a plane, I'm not doing that.
So if there is such an experience, regardless of what it is, that you haven't had an opportunity to do that you would like to do, what would you like to do that you've not had an opportunity to do?
Travel? I want to go to Africa.
Go to Africa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been to Europe, but I want to go to Africa. All right. So we're gonna see.
All right.
So we're gonna pour.
No, can we drink on the air? Is that
we can
legal?
drink. I don't know.
We have to ask our producer about that. But we get kicked off the FCC.
We over 21. I don't see why not.
One of the things that we wanted to leave with you guys today that I thought was really true. And I'm not sure if you have three. You actually stole one of mine earlier in the show, and and I'll talk about that one in a second. But I actually have 3 tips that I will look. This is just an old player, right? Talking to a young player. If you are young in your relationship, that's okay. Young in your relationship, and you want to know how to build true intimacy with your significant other, especially if your significant other is a woman. I'm going to give you my tip number 1, and that is find out what it is that she truly aspires to be and do. What are her dreams? What would she like to do? Where would she like to take her career, etc. Find out what that is and encourage it. Every woman wants to know that her man is behind her aspirations and her dreams. So you need to be very careful when your significant other is expressing to you what she would aspire to do, professionally, especially, and personally, but even especially professionally, and make sure that you get behind that. Make sure that you demonstrate to her that you are supportive of that. That is one of the things that builds. Sweet. You don't want me to talk anymore.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's one of the things that absolutely builds intimacy and builds that connection. Do you have a tip? Because I've got 2 more. One of them you already mentioned.
I gave 2 already. I got one more tip.
You can do one more.
Self-care is the best care. You cannot effectively engage your partner if you are not okay.
I think that's great.
You have to be okay. And I know I don't do enough self-care.
It's important because when you're with your partner, you're supposed to, and I'm really trying to touch on some of these 5 love languages, and not because I'm trying to, publicize the book or get some.
Because we ain't getting no money from him.
But it is what I found is most of what that book talks about is steeped in just reality. Over time, what you figure out in a relationship is just how significant some of that stuff is if you truly practice it. Mm-hmm. Like words of affirmation. Like I truly believe that my wife can be whatever she wants. I believe she can be a chef if that's what she wants to be. I believe she can be a partner of a law firm if that's what she wants to be. I also believe that she can be an author, a speaker, you name it, a consultant.
And I will say that I don't know if guys, so what he's saying is absolutely accurate. I think it's important that you are your partner's biggest cheerleader. I don't think anybody that knows me will say that I won't. Now I will be critical of him to him. And I may fuss and complain to my sister about something stupid that I think he's done. But I don't think anybody would ever say that they've ever heard me badmouth my husband in the street. I wouldn't do that. I ride for him. And if you know me, then you've seen me in spaces where I've strongly defended him with not so nice language, just because that's how I'm built. I don't do that. And I will say that even with previous relationships, Keith is absolutely my biggest cheerleader. Is it good?
That's good.
Okay, really? I made it up. Let me taste.
It's very good. What toast?
Oh, that's very good. Okay, good.
The show is.
So anyway, I am my husband's he's my biggest cheerleader. And I appreciate that because you don't always get that. So you have I've never felt that Keith was in competition. I have a very big personality. And everybody can't handle that. But I think that Keith is able to manage that very well without him feeling like it's threatening to him being a man. So I think people have this perception of me publicly that's very, very different than how I am at home. I still am able to, you don't agree with that?
No, I think we do. I think you do compete with me at home a lot. Because I'm right at home. I think you're naturally competitive. So we do see some of that behind closed doors. I also believe wholeheartedly that anything that you stay on me about here in the house stays in this house. So I think you push me a lot behind closed doors, but publicly, I don't think you've ever like went on Facebook and said something about, I want my husband to be more this or more compassionate or more whatever. So I think that's hugely important, is be your spouse's biggest cheerleader, but be their biggest public supporter as well, because we live in a social media age.
Don't put your business in the street, because just as sure as you're putting your business in the street, there is someone else in the grass waiting to slither on out and say whatever it is that needs to be said that you vented about. So whatever the weakness is that you all have, whatever the weakness is that you have shared in your relationship, understand that there is someone else out there that is listening to that weakness and is going to come in and address the weakness that you said was a weakness in order to get your other person. It was a
great poet, Sir Mix-a-Lot, who said, and I pull up quick to get with him. That's kind of what that's what he was saying. He said it. Don't look at me like that. He said that. Okay. I did have another one that I wanted to share before we kind of go back to the one that you mentioned earlier, and that is, fellas, lighten your...
A clean out woman in the grass. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. A clean out woman, man in the grass is exactly what it is. Betty Wright told y'all, don't be no clean out woman.
See, you quoting Betty Wright, I quoted Sir Mix-a-Lot. What's
okay, you're right. Go ahead.
So listen, fellas, lighten your significant other's load. Lighten their load. I know acts of service is a love language, but acts of service notwithstanding, there are some spouses, especially women, who just naturally do a lot of things at the same time. They will care for kids. They will cook in the kitchen. They will make love to you and also, have to go to work. And so they're always juggling all of these things. So I don't care whether she sees it as a formal act of service or not. Figure out ways to lighten your significant other's load. Figure out ways to, even if it's random, even if it's not consistent, figure out ways to just take something off of her plate on an ongoing and a frequent basis, because I think what that does is it demonstrates to it demonstrates to her that you think that her time is important, and you think that her ability to go out after other things, like her dreams and pursuing her dreams and aspirations, are important. So I'm going to take this off of your plate. Like for example, like this, I would never, ever, 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 ever try this. Because it's just not my thing. Now I will pay somebody to come and do this, or I will buy some food and wrap it up and bring it home and make it look pretty, like I did.
Like you did something.
I would do that, but
that's why I did this for guys. That was the dessert I made was super, super easy. It is literally some strawberries, some pound cake, and you ain't got to make the whipped cream. I was just seeing if I could do it, and some store-bought whipped cream. Don't get the Cool Whip. That's not a shade on Cool Whip, but get the spray stuff. It's just much easier, because otherwise Cool Whip you got to beat to make it fluffy. Yeah. And I would say in response to that, because we have a little bit of time left, that women that when the men are attempting to take stuff from you and take stuff on your plate, take stuff off your plate, you have to be willing to do that. So Keith is very good about seeing when I need girl time, and he'll call my sister or call my girlfriends and say, she's not going to listen to me because she thinks that she has so much to do in the house, but I see it in her. She needs a break. Y'all come get her and just take her. And he won't call me. He'll call and she may check in and be like, you okay? I know y'all drinking wine. Are you all right? You got to stay where you are, or do you need to come home? And so I have another girlfriend, Rob is like that. So with that, so to the extent that and I value that, because I recognize that that's not everybody. And so it's the same as what Keith is saying for women. When your man sees that you, or even if it's your partner, if you see that if your partner sees that there's some space, there's some opportunity for you to just take a reprieve and just relax, and calls your friends and say, come get him or her.
Come get her. Take her away.
Go and be receptive to it. And I had to recognize as the oldest, because I'm so accustomed to just doing everything, that I cannot do everything. And so Keith will do bath time. Yeah. And I, now he's 5, he does his own bath, but when that was Keith's thing, when I'm able to do other stuff. Keith does not cook. He will cook, but he ain't in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen.
So as we close, I'm going to refer back to the one thing that Monica mentioned earlier in the show, and that is accept your mate for whoever they are without judgment. Accept them. They're grown. They're grown people. They were this way when you got together with them. The more you demonstrate how much you accept them without judgment, I think the better off they're going to feel that intimacy between the two of you. My last point about the take things off of the plate, ladies, I've given my daughters the same advice. A man is what he does. Trust me, I got a gift of gab. I can charm the poison out of a rattlesnake. But if you want to judge the character of that man and judge how much he cares about you, then absolutely look at what he does versus what he says. Do you have any parting wisdom?
That's it. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Be safe out there. Stay home. And you got your own room.
Listen,
close the door.
Did you
turn the lights off?
Don't talk less. Talk less. Talk less. Bye, everybody.